They call him bad luck. Everyone pushes him away. But his heart waits, silently, to be seen for what it is. The persona is the mask the world imposes on us. The self is nameless, it cannot be labeled. The authentic heart defies definition. It is encountered only when one stops naming. A sunny square, a young man, dressed simply but with a noble bearing, stands aside while the crowd murmurs and points to signs reading, "Bad luck." Kāḷakaṇṇi is looking for work. Everyone chases him away as soon as they hear his name. Only an elderly banker, struck by his serene gaze, welcomes him into his home. The social persona is the label that the collective attaches. The elderly banker embodies the courage to look beyond the mask, toward the latent self. The stigma dissolves when the gaze is silent. A new name isn't needed. Just stop believing in the old one. The name is denied, apophasis, that isn't the identity. The protagonist's silence speaks louder than words, an absence that holds the mystery. During a fire, Kāḷakaṇṇi risks his life to save the creditor's family. Misfortune becomes the only salvation. The shadow, once integrated, heals. What was rejected is transformed into a saving force. The integrated shadow acts. Individuation is not an escape from the darkness, but its transformation into service. The heroic gesture springs from the ineffable center, not from egoistic calculation. No words accompany the action. The gesture is pure, instantaneous, inexpressible, a knowledge that needs no concepts. The act does not explain. It accomplishes. The noble heart manifests itself in the silence of action, without needing definitions. It is instantaneous, inexpressible revelation. A close-up of a serene face, illuminated by the now subdued fire. Around, arms outstretched in a gesture of thanksgiving and shame. The word, Kāḷakaṇṇi, dissolves like ash into the air. The community asks for forgiveness. The banker smiles. It is not the name, but the inner heart that makes the man. Kāḷakaṇṇi remains silent, unperturbed. The labels are ash. The self dwells beyond the persona and beyond the shadow. It is the silent and ineffable center of our interiority. The self is beyond definition. The name, like the persona, is a construct. True identity emerges when the psyche empties itself of projections and dwells in its own silent and ineffable center. The story is silent about the mystery of the heart. It indicates it only with an absence. And in that silence, something familiar resonates, a knowledge without concept. The Jataka does not describe that center. It indicates it with an absence. It is silent about the inner heart. It is a knowledge without concept, which resonates only when the labeling mind stops. Apophasis is the true teaching.
They named me Kāḷakaṇṇi, a smoky stigma in the crowded space. Then the fire came, erasing all their masks. I stepped through the flame, an unlabeled heart. The stigma turns to golden dust.
Golden dust.
A center that cannot be named. They named the shadow before the man, just a borrowed mask held in their hand. But Kāḷakaṇṇi stepped into the fire and pulled a life out from the funeral pyre. Now the name is just a whisper in the air, a forgotten cinder that was never really there. Cause the true self doesn't need a sound, found in the quiet of the hollowed ground.
The story doesn't explain, it simply holds the mystery. Removing the name, removing the fear, until only silence remains. A noble heart appears in the semantic void, a knowing felt deep in the heart's quiet beat.